Hey you guys, I just wanted to make this video of this swim bait rod that I'm working on for myself, and actually I've shot a bunch of video of the entire rod and a lot of most of the thread work on all of the main detail sections, like this wacky wrap. Let me zoom in on this wacky wrap. So it's supposed to be like where it doesn't make any sense, and all these intersections are all like totally in the wrong spot, and it's intentionally supposed to be that way. And I'm zooming in so you can actually see what colors I have in the different bands. You can see the just the different tones and where there's like some little pinstripes and inlays. They look like a bunch of candy cane stripes, but I just these sections right here where I added some thread into those dead spots where I had to cut off the edges. I just got a second coat of flex coat on this section back here, and I just wanted to share this wacky wrap. Once I finish the whole rod, I'll have some pictures in the daylight sun and then edited. This is like in my garage at 11 o'clock at night with, you know, this light that's like not really great, but just wanted to show you what this thing actually looks like. Thanks for looking. Hey guys, I'm back to start working on this wacky wrap. First thing I'm going to do is break off a bunch of pieces of masking tape. And the reason I'm using masking tape is because the adhesive quality of the masking tape is pretty strong and tacky compared to, let's say, blue tape, painter's tape. I do use blue painter's tape for a lot of different applications in rod building, but for this one I'm going to use the masking tape because I need something strong and sticky to stay down and not peel up, because what's going to end up happening is there's going to be a bunch of starting and stopping where I'm going to stick the thread right here on the grip, and then I'm going to wind it down, and then I'm going to stick it on the grip. It's going to stay there, and I'm just going to keep doing that pattern like that. So you're going to wind up with a bunch of tape up here on these for short term. And also I'm going to do this in stages because I don't really think I want to tackle this whole thing tonight. And so this might sit here on this rod for a few days. I think that's probably enough, more than enough tape. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26, 28, 30, 32. So I need one for start and stop, so I can do about 16 bands, which is probably more than I will do. Before I start, you know, this thread looks like a turquoise blue, and I don't know how it's going to look like on a regular camera, like a regular TV, but it should be about the same of what I'm seeing right now in the mobile device. I'm just filming this with my iPhone. But this thread is like a brighter blue than it appears when I'm looking at it in the camera. It looks more green, more aqua. And it is a little bit of an aqua, but this spool, let's see if I get closer to it and change the angle of light, but this has got like more of a blue property to it. Like I call this ice blue. Anyway, not that it matters, but it looks a little greener in here than it is. So normally, like a diamond, if you were doing a diamond wrap or chevrons or fish wraps or any type of cross wrap pattern, what you would do is you would be pretty picky about marking off with your ruler all the sections and getting all the segments even, and you probably even would have marks on the top, dead on, top dead center, and top bottom center, dead on, and you would have those alternating so that your thread would come off and intersect that line, and then it would come down and hit the middle point in between and come back out and pop on your next dot. And you would try to really focus on getting everything laid out just perfectly. And the reason why it's so important is because the more thread you're getting filled in there, ultimately you get to where there's no exposed blank showing anymore, and you're trying to close out your patterns. And what'll happen is if it's not perfect, and even if it is perfect, it's difficult because you start getting sections where the threads completely come together and you can't really get any more thread in there, but then you'll have other sections where you can see the blank and it's not closed out. So you're having to shift and move threads over with your burnishing tool or your packing tool or something that you can move threads with. And so to really get some good cross wraps is something that requires a lot of skill. I've done maybe a handful of cross wraps in my life. I did some custom rods a long time ago for a guy that his name was Mr. Lou Jewelry. He was an old timer on the Red Rooster. He fished on the Red Rooster, and I traded him some rod work for some jewelry. This was like, wow, probably 1992 or something. I did some diamond patterns for him. They were super basic. They came out okay. But this pattern that I'm going to do here is called a wacky wrap. And I actually have only ever seen this on one rod. It was by Stephen Patterson. His little side business or whatever was called Rooster Custom Rods. And he was one of the best wrappers that I'd ever seen in terms of doing cross wraps. His work was really impeccable. Just over the top, one of the best cross wrappers I'd ever seen by far. And he did something like this that he called a wacky wrap. And I'm not measuring or or putting any markings. I'm just totally eyeballing this. It's not going to be perfect. It's not supposed to be. It's not going to be any type of a closed out wrap. There's going to be a lot of dead space here with this blue, ice blue background. This is a very small amount of coverage on the wrap, and so I'm not worried about any type of consistency or making sure that everything is super proper. I don't even know what colors I'm going to be wrapping this with. I don't even know. I just started with this color here. It's kind of like more of a reddish purple. And so what I'm going to do is, let's see, now I'm going to go with this blue. So basically what I'm going to do is, and this is just going to get cooler and cooler and cooler as we go. The more I can get on there, the more this thing is just going to start to come together and look like it makes some kind of sense. Even though the final product is going to look very discombobulated and not going to have any rhyme or reason because it's not going to be symmetrical. So what's going to be is this pattern that I'm doing right here. It's probably going to be about that wide with maybe, I don't know, 12 or so color bands. I'll come up with some sort of a pattern, but I'm not, like with the diamond pattern. So what you would do is, like with the, I'm speaking to people that kind of don't really know much about fishing rods or rod wrapping. It's really hard to see. But if I was doing a diamond wrap, what I would actually do is I would finish off like this, and then I would actually come back and start crossing back this way and making diamonds. But I'm not doing a diamond, I'm doing a wacky, which honestly, aside from Rooster's wacky that he did, and the one that I just did on my cousin Pam's gaff that I made, I've honestly never even seen anybody else do it. He did it just kind of like, just for fun, but I actually think it turns out really cool. And I like the way it looks a lot. So I'm doing it on my own rod. This is a swim bait rod for throwing like trout pattern lures that are like maybe 10 to 12 inches long or something, for like big stripers out here at Lake Mojave. So now I'm going to do another blue because I'm just widening out these bands, and I guess you guys don't need to see my face as importantly as I need to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to put this right here because I'm really having a tough time seeing. So this first one that I'm doing, I don't know what angle that would be, but what you'll see is whenever I get done with this section, then I'm gonna do some more sections that are gonna be totally different angles. And when you were to spin the rod blank like I'm doing now, once it's all finished, you'll have all these different patterns kind of like intersecting each other, like in all the wrong places. I was thinking about it after I made my last video, and I know I'm complaining a lot about my stuff, and I really hate to do that because nobody wants to hear complaining, but man, this setup that I have is just, there's not enough space to really get my stuff in here, and it's like, it just can be frustrating when stuff's not working out. But actually, that's kind of the nature of rod building, I think, almost for everybody. It's not like anybody, like everything's perfect. This setup is, you can definitely fight with your stuff. So, okay, so ultimately what I'll do is try to get some kind of a symmetric pattern in here. So I've got, I think I'm gonna do, I want that blue to start popping, and then this thread is very, very fine diameter because it's size A, which is a very fine, thin thread. So it's not like it is real super visible. Like this, for example, is size D thread, and this is like probably 3 times the diameter and much more easily seen. I gotta pull this off here and figure out this light. This light is literally just completely killing me. No idea. Almost kind of, I just bought this light because the other one that I had literally just came apart from all the flexing. It's like a flexi type, and the flexi type was cool, but eventually all the flexing just freaking broke the light. Told myself I wasn't going to complain, but man, total freaking pain in the butt. Okay, so this is my third pass with the blue. And So hey, I actually just did a podcast, my first ever podcast, where like I hosted the podcast for my channel. Like I think we did that on Wednesday. What's today? Friday or Saturday? I think today was Friday. Yeah, on we did that on Wednesday. And it actually went really well. The audio and the content I thought was exceptional. And for like doing it for the first time, I've been on like a couple of other podcasts where I was a guest, but I felt like for my first time that it was really good. And basically it was with my friend Ryan Paquette, who just got his real estate license. Like he just passed the test and sent it in the application, and he's approved. So, but he's still waiting for the license. So he's totally, you know, hasn't even really started yet. And he's going to be, I'm going to be mentoring him, and he's going to be kind of like on my team. I don't really have a team per se, but he's just somebody that I'm going to take under my wing and help out a little bit. And he's hopefully going to be working with me too on finding deals on houses that we can flip. And some of them will be listings. You know, the rod building is really more of just a hobby. My actual job or business is real estate, for anybody who doesn't know that. And so that's, you know, that's how I actually make money. This is more of a hobby. But one thing that was a little bit of a bummer was we did like a trial run, just like a 5-minute video where we were just flapping, and then we watched it back and played it back, and everything was fine. And then he had this idea that he's like, well, I want to change this one lens and change this one little thing. And I'm like, okay. And then right when we started, there was like this blue little bit of, it almost like looked like a filter where the image had like these blue shadows. And he's like, oh, don't worry, that's just such and such and such and such, like, you know, whatever. And I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. So anyway, we shot the whole video, and then we went to watch it. Not really watch it, because we just did it, so we didn't really have to watch it, because it was like an hour. But just to see how it looked. And he's like, oh my gosh, the freaking blue lines are on there. I don't know how that happened. So the video is a little bit messed up because of that, but I don't really think most people just sit there and stare at the screen for podcasts anyways. Usually they're doing other stuff, scrolling through their phone, and it's watchable. It's not like it's not watchable. It's just kind of a bummer because, you know, whatever. It's the first one, and hopefully we'll do a lot of podcasts and, you know, end up looking back at that someday and be like, remember when we did the first podcast and freaking screwed up the video? So I couldn't really be too mad about it because that wouldn't have done any good. And I was like, what are we gonna do? Like redo it? You can't really go back and like kind of like do that over again and not feel weird, like saying all the stuff you just said, and it just would feel weird. So I was like, you know what, it's the first one, let's just not even worry about it. We just won't do that again. But so this wrap that I'm doing right here is with this same ice blue color as this, and right now you won't really see it because it's obviously going to blend in with the background, but I'm going to end up flanking it ultimately on multiple sides with other colors, to where I'm never going to have the outside color of this section. I'm never going to have the outside color be the same as the background color, because obviously that wouldn't make sense. So you need an outline of something else. But I do want to get this color obviously incorporated into there because it's just a great color. So probably what I'll do is I'm just gonna go with this and kind of figure out how I want this wrap to go, like as I go. It's kind of coming together. And I don't know if anybody who's watching this right now would kind of really understand what it's going to look like when it's finished, just off of like the explanation that I gave for it. This light is brand new and literally it just feels like it's about to break. I probably am going to send this light back because there's no way this thing's going to last like more than 10 times out here wrapping. So I'm going to have to do a Amazon return on this light lamp because there's just no way it's going to hold up. It already feels like it wants to break right now. Like literally feels like this base wants to snap right here. You can't see it, but it's literally complete junk. Yeah, it's just, this lamp is total junk. Super frustrating. It's like, yeah, just total junk. Total garbage. I'm gonna do actually like 3 or more bands of this ice blue, so I can have like a fat ice blue section in the middle, and then that's gonna really help that purple and blue pop. And yeah, that feels like that wants to, no, I think it's okay. I'm just gonna like not even use that magnifying glass, so I don't even want to deal with that. I'm just gonna have to grit through it. But yeah, the real estate, the podcast that we did was basically, the topic was how to get started as a new real estate agent. And, you know, I did do some videos in the past talking about real estate and crypto and investing and things like that, but I don't know. I don't really want to go into that kind of subject matter, to be honest. It's just not what I want to cover. Like if I'm actually put myself out there and talk about topics that are, you know, that I really want to talk about, you know, there's literally like everyone in the world, especially in all my circles, everyone's talking about flipping houses and wholesaling and investments and how to get wealthy and all these things. And it's just like, you know, nothing wrong with being wealthy and nothing wrong with making money and being successful and taking care of your family. And those are all good things, but just focusing like my production of podcast or social media content off of that, like, I don't know, I just feel like it's saturated anyway. There's so many people doing it. So, but the reason why I did it was because I knew I could give my buddy Ryan a ton of just things that he could do, because you just got to get started and do something. So I knew I could give him like a bunch of good info, and I've actually had the same conversation, like maybe over the phone or in person, like many different times, you know, where I'm taking like a new person and just data dumping on them and giving them a ton of ideas. And it's always been like, it's always cool, you know, it's cool helping like new people. But after I do it, it's like, dude, I just spent like an hour talking to that guy, and that was everything we just talked about was freaking awesome. And literally no one will ever hear that because we didn't record it. And the only way to duplicate it is to go talk to the next person and help them and tell them. And it's like, we need to record this, dude. So that was why I wanted to record it, because I thought, there's probably a lot of people, a lot of new agents in any market that really could get a lot of value out of that. So I thought, let's just record it, because why shouldn't we? So that was like the first podcast that we put together, and Ryan put all of the equipment together, all the audio and video and computer stuff, and I'm glad he did that, because I probably could figure it out, and actually I'm probably going to have to, because I don't know if he's likely not going to be available to be a part of every podcast I do. We've kind of been kicking around the idea of doing where he's like a co-host, kind of like a Batman and Robin thing, because I could do a podcast where I just talk, but sometimes I feel like having somebody else to like interject and bounce ideas off of, just so I don't totally go into rambling mode. I mean, even with a co-host, I'll still probably ramble a lot, but sometimes you'll see people where they have like a co-host and it just works for them. So we don't really know how our format's going to be. I'm probably going to want to do some podcasts where I just, I'm talking to the audience, and it's just me. And I also want to do some podcasts where I have guests. So I think it's possible that we might do like a lot of different types of formats. So I think it's cool though. The thing that seems cool about a podcast is, your friends and your family and your husband and your wife and your best friends, like, they love you, but they don't necessarily want to hear every thought that comes into your mind. And having a podcast is pretty cool, because you can just talk about whatever topics you want, and if people want to tune in and listen, they will. And if they don't, then they won't. And nothing wrong with that. That way, people who are interested can tune in and listen. And I think it's pretty cool. So, okay, this is coming together. So now I'm going, after I did I don't know how many passes I just did with that ice blue, which is going to be in the center. But after I did that, now I'm back into this darker blue metallic thread. I might even make the bands like asymmetrical, because it is a wacky and there's no rhyme or reason or particular pattern that's followed. It's funny, I was ripping tape off for the longest time, and I thought that's more than enough tape, but that tape is almost gone. I'm gonna probably literally have to cut off a bunch more tape just to finish this one section. So as far as, I'm calling these sections, but they're these lines, spirals. There's gonna end up being 4 total spirals. And they're all gonna be different. So this one is on this angle like this. There's next one's probably gonna be like that. And then there's gonna be one like that. And then there's gonna be one that's almost flat, where it's just barely gonna spiral around it. It's gonna be no rhyme or reason. But just you wait, it's gonna be super cool. And I probably should do this one about that wide, so maybe about 3 to 4 times as wide as it is now. But it's easy to just kind of be I want to stop, because just like anything else, it's work. And but the last one I did on Pam's gaff was this first section with this same angle was probably like my thickest one. And that was one thing I remembered about Steven Patterson's WACKY that he had done a long time ago and posted pictures. And this was probably like 2015, like at the latest, maybe even like 2013. That's 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I need at least one more if I'm going to be symmetrical with the first side. But one thing that I remembered about his WACKY that he did was that the size of the spiral rows of threads were different thicknesses, and I just remember he had like this one that was super skinny. It just totally stood out from the rest of them as being like totally out of place, but it looked really good. And I would imagine he probably put a little bit of time into the layout more than I just did, because the way he did his cross straps and stuff, they were freaking perfect. And I don't remember. I actually tried to pull that up and see if I could find it online somewhere, and I couldn't. It was like not able to be found anywhere. So I think that content was removed or something. This looks like I'm still a little thin here and gonna need another layer of blue, another pass of blue, of this blue that I've got going here, because that still looks a little bit narrow. Oh boy. Okay, so I'm gonna do one more. And this thread is just kind of coming off the spool a little bit. This Alps thread actually is performing pretty well though, compared to that ice blue spool where the thread wants to just fly off of it, and there's only one sidewall, if that's the right terminology, on the spool. So the side that doesn't have the sidewall, the thread just flies off. I think this looks accurate. I think I'm gonna go grab my magnifying glass just so I can use that by hand. Probably be a lot more cooperative than this lamp. Yeah, I'm gonna actually do that. It's just right in my office, just right here next to Yeah, I kind of messed up. So you kind of want to, when you do this, you kind of want to only go in one direction. And if you can tell, I'm going back on the other side of my beginning thread and adding in more of this purple. And it's kind of being a bear. Because the thread's kind of, from the pressure, it's kind of wanting to fall. So your next thread that you put on the top, when you keep going, it should keep falling. So this one, when you're starting below it, it wants to fall away from your wraps. But it can also kind of like, you can cross over, because you don't want the threads to cross over. You want the threads to stay together. Oh my God. Yeah, I definitely knew with the time of day that it's night right now and it's late and I'm probably tired too. I knew that I wasn't gonna want to do, actually, you know what, I'll just get this, let me just mostly get this, like, I'll tighten it up after. But I knew, like, if I could just get through this first row tonight and then, like, get some sleep and revisit this maybe in a few days or tomorrow, just do a little bit at a time, I knew that that would probably be my best bet. But I was kind of dreading this for like a few days, so that's why I hadn't started on this. It's just been sitting here like ready to, I got a couple layers of flex coat on it and it's been sitting here like ready to go. But I tend to, when I think things are going to be like difficult or a little bit, you know, I don't want to say hard, but what's the word? Just likely to cause me like setbacks. I'll sometimes tend to be a little bit slow to start, because I'm like maybe overthinking it. I would imagine a lot of people are that way in life, but you know, I always get started with whatever it is, but sometimes it might just be, you know, putting it off or whatever. And you can see that, so it's like, I think now 3 purple, and then 3 blue, and then maybe 6 of the aqua, and then back into 3 blue, and then I'm gonna do like 3 of this reddish purple on the other side. Or actually, I might make it considerably thicker and kind of, I might do, too bad I wasn't live and I could ask you guys what you think. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do 3 rows of, like right here next to where I've already been going. So I have 3 purple, 3 blue, 6 ice blue, and then 3 blue. I think I'm gonna do 3 more purple, and then I'm gonna go back into 3 more blue, 6 more ice blue, 3 more dark blue, and then 3 more purple, which is gonna be way more work, but I think that's gonna be like, look really cool. It's just tedious, and it's difficult to see. The biggest problem I have is like my eyes. Like I think my readers are like not the right prescription or the right number. These are like, excuse me, 1.5, 1.75. I think I probably need like a stronger, like a 2 1/4 or something now. Yeah, that looks pretty cool. Yeah, so I got 3 purple, and then I got 4 blue. And then 4 blue on either side of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the, so I got 3, 4, 6, 4. So yeah, this is gonna be really cool. This is gonna be really cool when it's finished. All right. I just gotta keep it going here. I wouldn't mind doing more of these wackies like on custom rods if people ordered a custom rod, you know, if people wanted these. I think, you know, after doing that gaff and posting some pictures of it, and I think like if I post pictures of this and it looks, assuming it comes out really cool, which I think it will, I could see people going for it. I knew I've got a lot of thread, but I thought I might have a little bit more. But actually, this is looking pretty cool. I don't think I've got enough thread to really go fat on this row. Let's see. Well, I definitely have enough to go one more here. So, and I need one more to even it out so it's symmetrical. So I do have a darker purple that I've been using on this rod that I'm gonna end up incorporating in this wacky, but that's different. Now I've got the spool, like the thread, like unraveling and turning into kind of a mess. Wow. All right. Disaster averted. So I like this color a lot. It's popping really good on this ice blue. I don't know if you can tell, but like right here, the thread from the pressure that I have, if you look right here, it's really digging into the grip. So hopefully that's not going to be all indented permanently. It should rebound. The foam under there should rebound. That could be enough right there. I'm gonna just like look at this, and I still need to decide if I'm done with this section. I might be like 50-50. I think that's gonna be it. Let's see here. I'm just kind of trying to tighten up this column or row because there's spots where it wanted to drift apart and kind of open up a little bit. So this is just kind of closing everything. All right, so let me just push this side. Still coming apart over there. Yeah, I think that actually looks pretty cool. I'm gonna probably go with that. Yeah, I like that. So that's the first one, and then the next one will be like, for example, I'll probably go the other direction, and it'll be maybe like something like maybe like this, where it's like, you see how the angle's totally different, and then there's going to be a couple other rows where they're just going to be all offset and intersecting in all the wrong places. It's basically going to be totally wrong, but it should look really cool. So 50 minutes already. So I'm going to wrap this one up and call it good. And yeah, that's the first series of wraps. So trying to see if I feel like adding anything else. I actually would like to thicken it, but the problem is like to make it, actually, you know what? I don't need to make it symmetrical. It's a wacky wrap. I do want this color on the outside of this wrap though. Probably don't really have enough to do. I have another blue that's even darker. Yeah, I have some other threads too. I think I'm gonna take a look at some other threads too. I guess I could do another section right now. I'm gonna end up editing this anyway. I'm gonna stop this for now. Thank you. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and do my second section, and I'm going to use some Mylar metallic thread in it, but I'm also going to use some of my regular nylon NCP thread, which I think the stuff that I'm working with is size C and D, and being that it's way thicker, I won't need to do like as many passes. I think I'm going to go in the same direction. So here goes the start of the next section, and I'm going to, no, I want to go the other direction, because right now when I just did that, it just did not feel right. So this one's going to go like this, and it's going to follow this weird angle. Actually, I'm going to go that angle eventually, but this one I want to go more of an angle. It's going to be less of an angle than the first wrap, but still angled compared to what's coming later. All right, so boom. And yeah, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go another of this cobalt color. So I'm gonna do another one right next to it. This is actually going to be way easier because this thread is so thick. This stuff's like rope compared to the other stuff that I was using. This nylon thread compared to the metallic. Yeah. Boom. You got to get the thread or the tape really tight. You don't want anything popping loose on you. I'm gonna do another one. Yeah, this is gonna be really cool. It's gonna be so cool, man. I'm liking how this is coming together already. I might even do one on this rod. I might even do one where it starts out like a certain thickness of a pattern, like a certain angle, and then the angle changes. Like, that would be really cool as far as just weirdness. You know, it's almost kind of like Mad Hatter style in a way, if you will, as far as just to kind of get an adjective to describe it. You kind of get like a little bit of a madness going on. So, okay, that is all the same color. And that was some fatness, thickness progress very quickly because of the size of the thread. Now I'm going to switch to this blue nylon, which compared to the one I was using, which is like a cobalt but looks more purpley. It's like a dark purple. Also, keep in mind all of this thread, once you get a coat of flex coat on it, which is the 2-part epoxy that we use to encapsulate everything and protect the thread, that'll darken up the finish considerably. So it'll start to look like a lot darker. Yeah, this is freaking gonna be awesome sauce. Yeah, that is really cool. I might do this whole row right here, this whole section with literally 0 metallics in it, because I think I can still give it quite a pop just by blending the colors on this section really good. Even though there won't be metallics, I think the way I'm going to blend these in here, they're going to pop pretty good. This is like, I'm pretty sure this is Gouda broad thread. I don't see a mark on it. It's just a little sticker that fell off. Oh, actually, I take that back. This is not Gouda broad thread. This is Alps thread, Batson brand. But if I had to say the number or the color, this is like 246 blue, like if it was Gouda broad, which that's just basically like old school builder terminology talking about Gouda rod colors. But this is 246-ish, and then I'm gonna drop down to like 245, which is a lighter blue. Oh my God, the light is just freaking killing my eyes. Literally struggling. I'll tell you what though, this nylon thread is going down like a dream compared to the metallic, because it's so thick. It's like laying rope. I'm gonna go with one more, at least one more of this blue. This rod is gonna be so sick. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, this is gonna be so cool. I'm gonna do, you know, the first one I didn't do thick, and I only need to get one thick one in there. And because this one has all these nylon threads, which are really fat threads, this is gonna be the one that I'm gonna do that's gonna be the fat one. And actually, I think that's really cool, because this narrow one with all these metallics, I think that I just don't have the words to articulate what my brain is thinking about the way these colors are gonna set up. Actually, I always have the words, but I'm just thinking this is gonna be really cool. So I'm gonna go into the 245 blue, which is lighter than this, and then I'm gonna go back into this darker blue, and then I'm gonna finish off with like that cobalt. I might even throw a couple pinstripes in there where I alternate, just so you can kind of see the offset. I think I'm gonna do that. That's gonna be super, super cool. Now I'm getting pumped. Woo! Now, like for a minute there, I was like, just wanted to stop because my eyes are killing me, but now I am pumped. Pump. Alrighty. Yeah, that's pretty thick. I'm envisioning how I want this to look, like coming together in my head, and this one's gonna work out real good. Do you see how these angles are not corresponding though? They're off. They're different. They're already like different angles. It's already starting to bring in the funk a little bit. That is the plan. All right, I have some 245 over here. Well, actually, it's that's funny. It's 524, which is basically the same numbers, but just in a different order. No. Actually, 524 is the thread type. Okay, yeah, they're calling it. Pretty sure this is the Batson thread. Yeah, they're calling it 245 and 246 C. So I'm pretty sure this is the Alps thread, like 99% sure. So now I'm going to start in with this 245, which is a lighter blue. And you might not be able to tell right away, but after I get some more threads in there, then oh yeah, that lighter blue is popping real good on there. Yeah, this is gonna be sick. Totally pumped to. It's so funny because I saw that Wacky that Rooster did, like freaking literally was probably like, I bet you it was 2013 when he did that, or even maybe longer ago. And I don't know, I never tried that. He kind of did it more like just kind of like having fun, but I think it looks freaking really cool. I'm gonna go back in with the darker blue to create like this pinstripe. I have a plan of what I'm doing here, guys. I think it's about 11 o'clock right now on Friday night. Whoops. I got to take the dog out for the last pee-pee of the night, but I'm going to try to finish this little section right here before I do that. He's in bed sleeping right now with his mom. Oh yeah. Flanking that thread with this darker thread again. That 245 blue is really popping good. Boom. Okay, now I'm gonna go back to the 245. You know, and I'm kind of like deciding as I go. So that's another thing that's kind of cool about it is, you know, you're just kind of like, oh, I could do whatever I want right here. So that's kind of fun, you know. It's not structured. That's kind of like the one thing that I liked about it too is, because I'll be honest, like cross wraps and fish and chevrons and diamonds, all that stuff, like that just requires like a ton of time on the layout. And I just never really wanted to get into that because I don't totally love cross wrap patterns anyways on rods. So that's, you know, it's a ton of time for just for the layout alone. And I don't really dig it, so that's kind of why I never really totally got into it, part of it. All right, I'm gonna do another 245. This is gonna be friggin' awesome. It is coming together. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's almost going to be like a colored candy cane, this one. Yeah. Boom. All right. Let me see what this looks like under the magnifying. Okay, so I got 4 of those. And I got 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 6. 1, 1, 2. Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna go back to the 246. It's almost sort of like a blend, like I said, like a candy cane. So I gotta go back with the 245. You know, you'd think there'd be like a lot of videos on YouTube of guys building custom rods. There's actually really not that much out there that you'll see. I've looked before. I mean, I'm shocked actually, because you just would think there would be, because there's a ton of videos on everything on YouTube. But there's, you know, I think it's probably just because people just want to just get after the rod building, and this requires like setup and stuff. All right, so now I have like 6. So now I'm going to go back the other way. I'm going to do 6. I got 4, and then 6, and then I got 1, 1, 2, 1, 1. So I got to go back and do 6 blue, and then 4 of the cobalt. So 6 more wraps and 4 more, so 10 more wraps. Yikes. 10 more wraps. Yeah, it's not rocket science, it's just time. It's actually pretty fast. If anybody's watching this that lives in Las Vegas, and actually it really could be any state, but keep me in mind as a realtor for Las Vegas, and also a flipper for any investment properties, which really can be in any location. This is actually coming apart, which that's not good. Let me see if I can pull those over at all underneath of there. Yeah, that's coming apart. Yeah, that's not great. But if you have like a fixer or a difficult, unique situation or anything, it could really be in any state. I would be willing to buy in like almost any state. Because worst case, I could partner with somebody boots on the ground, but maybe figure out like some creative deal for you depending on what your situation is. And then if you're in Vegas, you know, and you need your house sold, I can definitely help you with that. And or if you're a buyer. I don't know how well you can see that. Yeah, that's going to be super cool. It just keeps coming more and more together as I get more threads. That's finishing out the symmetricality, if that's a word. We were just watching Better Call Saul, and Jimmy Saul use that word when he got his license back after being suspended. And he's like, we need to change the name to HHMM now. It's like, that'll make it more symmetrical. And you know people like symmetricality. And I was like, whoa, is that a word? That's awesome. I was like, I can incorporate that into my rod building game. No, actually, I didn't really think that. I just thought that this is coming together more and more as it starts looking more symmetrical. And then I just thought, I'll just throw that in there. Yeah, this one's way wide. I wanted the first one to be wide, but actually, I think the words that I was trying to articulate before was on the first one I did on Pam's, like the first row was like very wide and the angle was steeper. It was more of an acute angle. And not that it didn't look good, but you know, the wider bands kind of tends to fall more in line with looking like a partial section of a diamond wrap or a cross wrap. But I like how the wide band is working on this more obtuse angle. I don't know why tartan comes to mind, but like on Pam's, the first row with the steeper, more acute angle, it just kind of reminded me of like a tartan look. And this one being thicker, it's different because I have different colors and I'm doing like a blend into it with some pinstripes in there, I guess would be the words. And I just think it, for the wider band, it looks better on the more obtuse angle. At least that's what I'm feeling like right now about it. I might want to close this large row section out with metallic on either end. So I might end up doing that. I don't like to go down below it because it doesn't work out as well. I can't believe how much tape you use. It's like crazy talk. Oh yeah, it looks freaking awesome. If anybody's watching this and they have any interest in learning how to build rods, you should totally go for it. It's not difficult. When my friend Paul Benner first showed me how to wrap rods, like in 1991 or 2 or whenever that was, he literally had he didn't even have an actual bench like this. He just had like a homemade jobby that he had cut out of like plywood and just cut some angles out just to keep the rod down in the angles, and it wasn't even like held down just by gravity and pressure. And he was showing me, and I'm like, that's cool. And he's like, yeah, sit down, I'll show you how to do it. And like literally within a little bit, he's like, yep, that's how you start. And he's like, that's how you go, and that's how you stop. He's like, you pretty much could wrap a rod now just from knowing how to start and go and stop and terminate a thread wrap. And so it is not difficult. So if you're thinking about doing it, you should. And you don't need a fancy rod stand like this. You can get by with, you could literally set the rod in a book, an open book, and just set it down in there and do it on your lap with pressure with the thread spool and like just having the basic stuff. That's all you need. You literally don't need all that stuff. I mean, it's nice to have, but it's also nice to do like your first one is totally with the basics, because then whenever you finally get an actual thread carriage, or not a thread carriage, but an actual rod wrapping bench like this, you'll totally appreciate it way more. You'll be like, oh my God, this is so nice. You know, because this has like 3 different stands that are like adjustable and keeps the rod from moving. And then of course it's got the motor with the foot pedal, which is nice to have. But yeah, you should try. If you have like the desire to build a rod, what you can do is just take one of your used rods that you already have, like a factory off-the-shelf type rod, and just use a razor blade to cut off and strip off the existing guides, and then clean those guides up with the razor blade and stuff, and then just rewrap them. If you're going to do that, I would use a tape measure and mark from the tip where each guide is. So the first guide's 3 inches. I would measure that 3 inches and then write it down. Guide number 1, 3 inches. The next guide is 7.5 inches. Write that down so that way you know exactly where to put the guides when you go back after the fact, which could be a challenge. I think I'm going to end up doing one wrap of metallic purple, that other metallic purple that I have on the outside of this band on either side, but I haven't fully decided yet. Once I finish this and I see, you know, the other 2 that I'm gonna do are gonna be probably more metallics again, so I don't know, maybe I won't. Just in keeping with making this thing very, not following specific patterns or anything like that. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll keep this one like more flat colors. All right, we're getting there, we're getting there. Boom. You see how this one is like this whole row, the way it's angling onto this winding check, and like on the other side, you know, it's probably what's going to happen is whenever I finally get some flex coat on this, and because like this is coming apart and stuff at the ends, which that always seems to happen. You always fight with that, especially when you're transitioning up the wind check. And when I say always, I mean like the handful of times I've ever done cross wraps. Probably what will end up happening is once I get flex coat on these, I'll probably end up going in like 1/2 inch or 3/4 of an inch and put a roll of tape around it, like a row of tape, and I'll probably end up cutting right into the thread all the way around, and like cutting that off. That way I have like a fresh, clean line, and then on the open spot that I expose when I cut the thread off, I'll go back with this color and just do the ends in like these little caps. And I think that'll be really cool looking. That's what I did on Pam's, and normally that wouldn't be my style. Normally I would have I would terminate these with this color because this is the color of my guide wraps, and I would maybe put a little color cap. But when I did Pam's gaff, I didn't do that, and actually really liked the way it looked. So I might do this rod like that too. I didn't like the angle that was coming out at. It's starting to fall apart on the side there. So I'm gonna drop my thread further back with my tape so I can come up and over this big mess here. So that way, no, that's not really working either. That's too big of an angle. So let me go like this. Yeah, that should work. That's working. Not sure how well you can see that. Lighting kind of sucks. You know, I actually have some filming lights that I left over at Ryan's house, and I don't really know how I could even use those for this application. And if I did, I'd be probably burning up from the heat. But probably can work on this lighting, because I actually would like to do more content on rod building. So I think I'm gonna work on figuring out my lighting a little bit better. That looks freaking awesome. I'm gonna bring the camera a little closer so you can see that. Yeah, the lighting looks bad. What color would I use for that? I think I'm gonna leave. I think that's gonna be it for that color. Actually, I think I'm one strand shy, now that I think about it. I can't see for crap. One, two, three, four. Yep. I need one more pass with this. And then I'm trying to decide if I want to put some metallic color on either side of that, which I kind of want to. I mean, I could add some other colors in that aren't a part of this rod, like green or something, but I don't think I'll be happy with the way that comes out. I don't think I'm gonna do that. I think I'm gonna stick with like the palette I've already got going here. I'm not gonna change that. I did think about it earlier, but I mean, it would look cool, don't get me wrong. Let's see, what color can I add? I could add this little bit lighter metallic blue on either side of that. Look, I have 4. I can take this off if I don't like the way it looks, but let me just try real quick. Yeah, that's just giving it a little tiny bit of pop. What did I just do? Is that coming apart? Just come off the spool. Yeah, I'll go with this metallic blue. Looks cool. I have another thread that I don't have in this palette on this rod, but I think I could incorporate it and it would look really good. It's like a hot pink metallic, almost like a fuchsia, if that's what you'd call it. It's like more pink, less purpley, and more pink, not red, but more pinky fuchsia than this color. I might end up incorporating that color into the rod. The problem is I'm just gonna do it. The problem is it's hard to see this blue on that ice blue background as like the finishing color. So it is what it is. Oh, that's coming apart. That's not good. Yeah. All right, let me see how I'm gonna do this. Let me see how I'm gonna do this. So I'm gonna put this one a little over here so I can get some pressure right here. Damn, it's coming apart. You know what? I think I can go from the other direction on this one. I might do that, but for now, this is coming apart again. All right, so I'm gonna go from this angle. I'm gonna go like this. I think now that's kind of weird. That might work. It feels really weird. Let me see if this works. It's pulling that purple part. Wants to be a bitch. I'm down to like the last one, and I feel like it's taken me the amount of time it took to do this whole thing just to get this one. Let me just go slow so I don't cross over it at all. Yeah, I'll probably just have to use my burnishing tool to pack this back together a little bit, but I think adding this one thread into this at the end with the metallic, just gonna give it a little extra pop. Being a bitch. Being a bitch. Being a bitch. All right, so let me wrap that around a couple times. See if I can pack that a little bit better. That's actually staying together pretty good. I don't see where it was separating. Maybe right here. Right here a little bit. Not sure. Yeah, it's coming apart right here a little bit. How did it do that? Yeah, that's gonna be good enough. All right, so now I think I'm gonna stop for the night. I'm freaking wiped out. My eyes are killing me. All right, this is gonna come together. Still got to do like 2 more sections that are gonna crisscross, and they're gonna be super tight and just not in line, and they're gonna start, when you twist it like this, you're gonna see like patterns start crossing up. Like it's gonna cross here and come back together and be further apart over here, and then there's gonna be another one. It's gonna be coming apart real fat here, and then boom, there's gonna be another one that crosses over here. And when all 4 of those sections are done, it should look really cool. And come together a little bit better than it is now. But it's cool, I'm happy with it though. Thanks for watching.